we are responsible for in terms of the upkeep, sanitation, and stuff like that. Now, there are various entities, fortunately, in Soufriere that assist in everything which happens in Soufriere. So we have the SMMA, we have the Soufriere Town Council, we have the PMA, and we also have the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation. Not all constituencies around the island have all of these entities that support the development of the town. So in Soufriere, we are very blessed and fortunate to have all of these other entities which we hope will work together in collaboration in terms of, developing Soufriere to be an even better community.
Thank you so much. Um, if I were to speak to the recent visit of the royal clipper to the town of Soufriere, I'm sure you were elated, and other persons can share similar emotions as well, given the fact that we're still navigating the pandemic. So I think this was a great initiative, well put together, and you can speak in great volumes to what exactly did transpire, how persons receive it, and your sentiments as the mayoress.
This was an opportunity for change in the way that cruise ship visitors interact with the Soufriere community. It was a very good initiative. Um, in collaboration with, like, as I said, the different entities, and most importantly, the Soufriere Regional Development Foundation, who's directly in charge of cruise ship visitors, since they are in charge of the ports and the jetties, along with SMMA. So it was a very great opportunity for change in the way the cruise ship visitors interact with the community of Soufriere. So we went all out to prepare the place in terms of sprucing up the waterfront and doing what was necessary to get the place ready. Well, as anything else, there were mixed feelings about it, but we did that as the initial um, preparation to help welcome cruise ship passengers. It is true that the Royal Clipper is a small cruise ship. It's not one of the big ones, but we're hoping that in the future, more cruise ships will both in Soufriere, and the tourists will get the opportunity to walk around the town before they go to specific sites, or if they just want to simply walk around in the town and interact with vendors and persons in the community. I was disappointed with the tour operators because we had discussions prior to this visit, and from all indication, I was of the view that they were going to go along with some of the proposals that we made, in the sense that the visitors would disembark, they would interact with the vendors that we had asked to come, interact with the persons who were, putting up their display of talent in terms of the masqueraders, the steel pan, and the shack shack band. But it seemed like it was same old as usual, straight from the boat onto the bus to the sides and back. And this is what we're trying to avoid. So we will be doing a post-mortem next week, as early as next week, and we will go back to the drawing board with the tour operators and the agents, because I am of the view that we as Soufriere, we have the product. We need to sit and ensure that the tour operators work along with us, in collaboration with us, because we are the ones with the product. And it looks like we are just dependent on the tour operators, and yielding to their requests, and they are not working in collaboration with us. As a matter of fact, I think we in Soufriere have the potential to be our own tour operators, develop our own tours, and we take charge of our business. And if Cox and Company or David Tours or whoever the other tour operators are do not want to work in collaboration with us, well, maybe we need to develop our own tours. Because, for example, we have different products. For example, we have the Grand Eden Estate or Garden in Dirash, where the the proprietor provides camping site, um, breakfast from the garden to the table, and a new and a different product. And we have other establishments in Soufriere who provides new and different products. So I'm thinking that the Super Regional Development Foundation is in a good position to develop their own tours.
Okay. Uh, Moving forward, what are the ways you think, or what can you contribute to the better structuring of such in terms of operators, in terms of the vendors, you know?
Okay, I think moving forward, we need to actually sit with the tour operators and the agents and let them know what we as the Super community expect, because we can boast of some of the world-renowned sites. If somebody says they come to St. Lucia and they have not seen the pitons or visit the world's only driving volcano, then they're missing out on a lot. Throughout the world, whenever you see the Twin Peaks, you know that it is the Caribbean, St. Lucia, St. Soufriere. And so I'm saying that we have a lot of attractions, we have a lot of reasons why persons need to come to Soufriere. We have the World Heritage Site as well. And I think we are in a position to sell ourselves and not let persons just take advantage of us. So we can work in collaboration with the other tour operators and ensure that we have a win-win situation, and it's not just the tour operators just benefiting and we in Supre are not benefiting directly. We get a spin-off from the vendors who sell at the Sulphur Springs and the other sites like the Colobet viewpoint, the wall, the Torile waterfall viewpoint, and also the viewpoint near Stonefield. We get a lot of spin-offs from the Super Regional Development Foundation when people disembark on the jetties. But the vendors in Soufriere, we don't really see the tourists walking around in Soufriere patronizing, the shops like Lifestyle and, well, Titak is closed now, but some of the other, restaurants and tourist boutiques and other places in the town. So I'm thinking this is what we really want to see. As a matter of fact, we had plans for having a craft market at the bus terminal. And if we have a craft market there, then we can have the tourists actually walk to the craft market and then, um, take the buses from there so that they can go on the tours afterwards. So that would be another um, opportunity for Soufriere if we have the craft market, which is part of the plan that they had in the bus terminal area, so that the tourists can actually walk there to visit the craft market.
Most definitely moving forward, I think those valid points can be considered. Thank you so, so much. Interestingly, last week we saw an addition to your constituency in terms of your councillors. Can you please elaborate?
Okay, initially we were supposed to have between 9 to 15 councillors, and the first on the 13th of September, we had the first swearing in ceremony, but unfortunately, not everybody was able to be present. So we went ahead with one group of persons who were present because the minister, Honorable Richard Frederick, and the PS made plans for that day, but somehow, persons were not quite ready. Maybe the time frame was a little short, and so we were given another date for the remainder of the councillors. And if you can recall, there were swearing in ceremonies throughout all the constituencies around the island. So we had to wait our turn until all the others were sworn in. And so then we had the last set um, last week. So that is what it was. Through no fault of ours, I would have preferred that we had it all done together, but somehow we are special in Sufre, so things are always done differently.
Okay. For persons who are not aware, could you make mention of the names, please?
Okay, I hope I don't miss out on anybody. So we have myself as the mayor, Cletus Didier as the deputy mayor. We have Mr. Orlando Sachel, Miss Teresa Prosper, better known as Buffer. We have Krishna Sen Bryce. We have Mr. Placid Lascaris. We have Mr. Nehemiah Saint Jean, Mrs. Catherine Prosper, Miss Camilla Jean. I'm hoping that I'm missing some persons. If I could just refresh my memory, Mr. Smith, Jean Philippe, and I'm hoping that I'm not missing out any persons. But these are more or less the persons I can recall offhand. I did not jot it down, but if I remember anybody that I missed out, I'll mention it afterwards.
Thank you. Thank you so much. 88.5 Surf FM, 27 minutes after the hour of 10 a.m. in Surface and Lucia, the Eastern Caribbean. This has been House Guest. We shall take a short commercial break. When we get back, we continue our discussions and a few questions. Thank you so much. Please stay tuned right back after the break.
Girl, I hear the Fossajack Credit Union, my credit union, will be celebrating 25 years of existence on 17th October 2021.
What? 25 years already?
Yes, girl. Seriously, I ain't know what I would do without my credit union. All what I have today has been because of them. My education and that of my children, my house and furniture, my car, my little business, everything.
Girl, me too.
As part of the 25th anniversary celebration, they will be running a special loan promotion to reward their members called Silver 25.
You're not serious?
Yes, girl. You can get a loan for as much as $25,000 at an interest rate as low as 5%. And you can get as much as 5 years to pay it back.
Imagine the other day, we were having dinner, and our old dining room table just fall flat down. Flat and laugh everything happened once a month. I wonder if they would give me a loan to purchase a new one.
Yes, girl. They said the loan promotion is for general purposes. Contact them. Their numbers are 459-7706 or 724-8268, or email them at info@fsjcu.com, or just go into any of their branches.
Good, I go do that thing. Because that table, it will embarrass me so.
The Silver 25 loan promotion runs from 1st October to 30th November 2021. Special conditions apply.
The public is hereby informed of the regulations for the Soufriere jetties. The jetties are managed by the Soufriere Foundation. Operational hours are between the hours of 9 a.m. and 5 p.m. daily. During these hours, no unauthorized personnel will be allowed on the jetties. No vending, no loitering, and no visitor harassment will be tolerated. The main and boardwalk jetties are to be used for the disembarkment of visitors to Soufriere and therefore should be a safe zone for all. Anyone found violating these regulations will be prosecuted.
Are you hosting an event? Want to capture the crowd? Whatever it is, make 88.5 Surf FM your choice for advertising. The only community radio station on island which offers affordable advertising and promotion cost, which in no doubt will meet your budget with a guaranteed market. Our objectives are founded on being able to provide a voice for the marginalized, a platform that facilitates the free and open flow of information, the promotion of democracy within the media world, and the education of the populace through specifically tailored programs. Call us at 459-7200 or 731-4833. 88.5 Surf FM, your voice, your light.
Do you have some old appliances at home? Are you thinking of throwing them away? Then stop. Think for a moment. Visit the repair and service shop located at Winsville in Soufriere. where they specialize in repairing and servicing small appliances. Yes, we do it all: toasters and toaster ovens, oil fryers, microwave ovens, small ovens, curling irons, flat irons, blow dryers, blenders, cake mixers, pressing irons, radios, fans, and also radiator fans, and lots more. For more information, give us a call at 720-0199 or WhatsApp on telephone number 486-2920. We also do pickups at selected locations. The repair and service shop located at Winsville in Soufriere. They do it all.
88.5 of FM. Welcome back inside our broadcast for today. How's the guest? With a special guest, the mayoress, Mrs. Joan Hippolyte. For persons who were not aware, let me take that time to apologize. But I did introduce Mrs. Hippolyte, Soufriere's mayor. Just before we actually went into a commercial break, you highlighted the counselors and you also made the apology that hoping a name wasn't missed out. And I would like to say, a team well put together. Congratulations to you. And I know a lot will be done in terms of the transformation and the empowerment as it comes to suffering and environs. Let's not be selfish to concentrate on just suffering, but suffering and environs. With that being said, the Christmas season is here, if I'm correct, and I'm elated. So I would love you to share with us what plans do you have in terms of the town beautification, in terms of employment, empowering the people. What do you really see can happen for this season?
Okay, let me just apologize for forgetting Councillor Margaret Vite, and incidentally, she's a very close friend of mine, my neighbor as well. So I don't know why I missed out on Miss Vite, but Miss Vite is one of the other councillors. When it comes to the plans for Soufriere for the upcoming season, well, we will be um, beautifying the town with lights as usual. As early as this month, we have the lighting of the square, of um, the vendors market, and the area on the waterfront. These areas we will be installing the lights in preparation for the Christmas season. Financially, we are not in a position to employ persons. We would love to, because there's a lot of demands on the super constituency council for cleaning up, especially with the rainy season. You get a lot of bush, growing quickly near the road, and persons are calling for the bushing and weed whacking. We will be starting the caretaking program soon, and most likely the step program to do cleaning along the roads. But other than that, we are not even in a position to employ many sanitation workers, even when persons go on vacation or when they are on medical leave. We are constrained financially, and so we try to manage as best as we can. When persons make requests, communities make requests, we try to address it as soon as possible. But in terms of employing more persons, this is a challenge that we have right now.
Thank you so much. Any talking points, any other projects you would like to maybe, is it too early to let the cat out of the bag?
We have some vendors booths on the Palmis Vending Plaza, and we are yet to finalize how we're going to utilize them because they are not completed. We have some landscaping to do, some painting of the structures, and finalizing it, and then we will work around the persons who will be utilizing them in terms of generating activity in that area to make it useful to have these vending areas along the Palmis Road. There's also another aspect of that project to do something similar at Toril, but again, we're looking at the acquisition of land and the area where this can be constructed. All of this is in an effort to, you know, help other persons benefit, whether from the locals or from the tourists, because we're really trying to encourage the tourists to move around. So maybe some in the future we may have tours, like some persons like to visit maybe the churches, historical sites, the cemeteries, and things of that nature. So all of these are tours that can be developed because not all the tourists want to go to Sulphur Springs. Not all the tourists want to walk around in the town. Different persons have different interests. So these are some of the things that we're looking at. But presently, the Super Constituency Council is not an entity that is as wealthy in terms of finances like the SRDF, who's, you know, really, really the well, what should I say, the most um, important financially, the most important institution in Soufriere financially to see about the development of the town. But we are working in collaboration with them, and we're hoping that when all the entities come together, we should be able to develop Soufriere even better than it is right now.
Putting you on the spot, in recent times, there have been discussions to actually help in terms of the livelihoods for communities like Palmies and Barons Drive. What do you have to bring some remedy, to those families, to the less fortunate in those impoverished communities?
Well, when I look at Palmist as compared to Barron's Drive, I will say that the people in Palmist are maybe a lot better off than the people in Barron's Drive in terms of the area, because when I go to Palmist and I look around and see the manner in which persons are extending on whatever structures that they have, it is developing in a way that shows that those persons are able to develop their homes, with whatever finances that they get. I'm not sure, but their rent is so low, unbelievably low, that no one would want to imagine that the rent for houses in these areas are less than $10, less than $10. And through no fault of ours, there's been very little effort made to help improve the structures in these areas, I guess because of the low rent. We have a challenge in these areas with regards the ability to develop horizontally, but persons develop upward vertically, and they, improve their houses, although in some instances it is to the detriment of some others, because when you go upward, then you're invading the privacy of somebody who is below you. You can see down into that person's room, into that person's bathroom, and stuff like that. But the minister did mention the possibility of helping in these areas with regards electricity by setting up some solar panels and distributing electricity to these areas. So this is a pilot project that the Honorable Emma Hippolyte has in mind, and I'm hoping that it will come to fruition at some point in time. With regards the Barons Drive area, we are trying to see how best we can open up the road from Barons Drive to Margaretwood, so it would help persons, navigate through that area and generate a little more activity in Barons Drive in terms of locals and tourists, going through that area, and again to help them benefit from the tourist dollar. Barons Drive, in my mind, is in a position to really develop once we can, set a plan and sit with the people of Barons Drive. I heard the minister talking about setting up a center, community center for the people at Barons Drive, and really helping them. They have been helping themselves. Some last week, I did a walkthrough along the waterfront, and some of the residents were telling me that they need to have their own sanitation team. Yes, because they're helping to keep the streets clean, but we want to keep the waterfront area as well clean. Some of them are doing it directly in front of their businesses, but in some areas there's a lot of bulky waste that we will try to get rid of. But generally, Barron Drive has a lot more potential for development than the Palmis area.
Okay. 20 minutes moving up to the hour of 11 a.m. It's Surface and Lucian Eastern Caribbean. Let me say good morning to our online listeners. Pengs Alexander, good morning. Margot Tom, Gail Gardiner, Jewel, good morning to you as well. Mrs. Hippolyte, someone is asking, are the old plans from the previous administration going to uphold in the same phases of construction as previously deemed by the former administration?
Well, when we review the plans, there are some aspects of it that we will implement. As I said, one of them is the village tourism project, which is the vending plazas on the Palmis Road. We will continue with it. There was a second phase which had to be done at Torile. We will continue with it as soon as we get the response with regards to the lands and the feasibility of having it at Torile. There's also plans for the waterfront. Again, we will look at it. Definitely, we have plans for the old town hall, to refurbish and whether it's in 2 stories or 3 stories, however, the revenue or the monies that we have kind of allow us to, we will continue with the plans as long as they are feasible.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Interestingly, I welcome all your plans, but the question is, what is there for the youth, the creative arts and sports?
Okay, well, there we have the youth in mind. We have plans for them as well. Right now, we have a young man who is employed to manage the Soufriere Stadium. He is involved in sports, in youth activities. We're also looking at assisting the youth. We're going to start a youth skills directory to allow the youth to come in to register and let us know the areas that they are interested in, the skills that they have, or the areas that they are interested in developing. And based on what they are interested in, we can guide them in terms of developing small businesses or allowing them or encouraging them to either apply for grants or loans to set up their businesses. And that is part of the youth entrepreneurship program that we have been speaking about. Presently, the bus terminal, we have a few young persons who are coming forward with businesses that they want to set up, and we should see at least 3 of them being set up before the Christmas season. As a matter of fact, I'm trying to encourage one of them because we really need that particular business set up. And he's a little tardy, but we will see some changes at the bus terminal and with youth entrepreneurs doing
Okay.
business there.
What incentives are there for persons who actually, and we know it's a pandemic for sure, incentives for struggling businesses in Soufriere? Given the fact that we're actually waiting to observe Business Month, which is always in November. I see a smile.
Well, I have not discussed this with Honorable Emma Hippolyte, but I'm sure that there will be some plans for the businesses because we know of the struggles that almost everybody had with COVID. In that regard, I cannot share any lights because I've not discussed that with Honorable Emma Hippolyte.
Okay. Um, there were plans from the previous admin in terms of the town hall retrofitting and maybe having a resource center. Is that still on the table?
Well, we have not looked at the entire plan. Again, finance is what is keeping that process from moving forward. And we have intentions to make that building an administrative building. As to what would be on the various floors or the different levels, I cannot tell right now, but we know that definitely we want to develop the or refurbish that area, or maybe build a new structure where the town hall is, so that the constituency council's office can be there, the post office, maybe the courthouse on one level. I'm not sure about the exact plan, but we do have that in mind.
Thank you. Also, in creating a buzz to the town of Soufriere, we saw the hosting of Lisa Soufriere. Is it something that can be reintroduced or rebranded, if I were to say?
Definitely. We saw this activity as a means of encouraging the residents of Soufriere and persons to visit and come to share in what Soufriere had to offer. There may be some rebranding, but Lisa Soufriere was a good activity, very good activity. I guess with COVID and everything else, we will have to wait until the green light is given for us to engage in an activity or activities like that again. But definitely, we have that in mind.
Thank you so much. This is why I allow you, if you have any other talking points, feel free to share with the listening audience.
Well, to be honest, there are lots of things that can be done to improve in the community. For example, we have um, the fish vendors. Persons have complained about the fish vendors selling by the street side, and indeed, it is not a healthy practice. Thinking that the fisheries department in Soufriere and the fisheries cooperative can work in collaboration with us to help set them up at the bus terminal, because we were getting the complaints that persons are saying that when they are at the fisheries complex, which is that area near the cemetery, where they have this area that is set out for them, they are complaining that they are too far away from the vendors, and persons will not come there to purchase from them, which in essence is not really true, because if you really want to buy fish, you will go to where the fish is being sold. We have massive store all the way at La Pearl Ruby Estate, and persons find their way up there if they want to get to Massey. So I believe that the fisheries department and the fisheries cooperative, fishermen's cooperative, need to work in collaboration with each other to set up a proper place for the fishers to vend their fish. Maybe have the conch shell, which is the traditional way of letting the public know that there is fish, either at the fisheries itself, or person going around the streets with the conch shell and a bullhorn saying to the public what fish is available and the price. And I think persons will patronize the fishers, because nowadays everybody's trying to be health conscious in terms of what they eat, and I'm thinking that if you really want fish, you would go to the fish market or the fisheries complex to purchase fish. I feel for the fishers, because it is a very dangerous occupation to go out there trying to get your catch. You come back and then you have a struggle to sell it. It really pained me when I saw the way that fishers were being treated in the past with regards selling around the streets, having the policemen do this kind of, inhumane job to either arrest the fishers or, push them around. I mean, through no fault of the police, they're trying to assist, but I don't think this is the best way. I'm pleading with the fisheries department and the fishermen's cooperative to find a way to provide for the fishers at the vendors market, or to improve the conditions at the fisheries complex so that persons can sell there, and we find a way to encourage the public to go to the fisheries complex to purchase fish when there is fish.
Thank you. 10 minutes moving up to the hour. This is where we reach our discussion Thank you so much for joining me here in studio today. It's always a pleasure, and I look forward to bringing you back so the community again can be updated with all the recent happenings. This is where you leave your final comments, please.
Thank you very much. I really appreciate that opportunity, Miss Epiphan, to inform the public of what is happening at the Soufriere Constituency Council and in Soufriere. Like I said, we want to work in collaboration with all the other institutions, not each one working on their own. We want to work in collaboration because even this past weekend, we had a situation with regards garbage on the waterfront. The Soufriere Town Council is responsible for garbage in the town. The NCA is responsible for garbage between the water's edge and the beach. And there's another entity for garbage between the beach and the sidewalk. So it's like three entities trying to work together to decide how we going to work to get the garbage off from the waterfront altogether. And it was like, the issue. So we have to meet, sit, and work together.
But I think just before we leave, interestingly, that has always been a problem in terms of garbage disposal. And I have had discussions where persons were stating there were insufficient bins, and even to a few bins that have been erected in places, it's the money of those bins because some persons dump all sorts of things in there that is not what actually the bins are for. So I think in some instances they took the bins away and they would probably just put it out during the day and night and they would take it away. There were a few interferences in terms of that because persons were not really using the bins for its purposes.
Well, garbage indeed is a big issue for us right now because I am trying to organize a meeting with Sadu, who's the person responsible for garbage collection. And I know for a fact that we had many more garbage trucks coming to new development in Soufriere to collect garbage, and presently we only have one. So we will need to sit with him as well because we have that big issue of garbage being left right in the middle of town, right in the middle of town. It is true it is blocked up, but it encourages rodents and to some extent the stench, sorry to say. But we need to find a better way. If it means that the Soufriere Constituency Council will have to have its own garbage bin, truck to transport the garbage on the afternoon when our workers have collected garbage around the community. And we have some homeless persons who go into the bins, tear the bags to get food, and they just spill the garbage anyway, or they collect garbage from a person private. They get a little tip and they come and dump it there. So we have to do something, and we're hoping that we will be able to house the homeless to lessen that problem.
Mrs. Hippolyte, if we were to stay here with questions, we would go on and on because I meant to ask you in terms of the homeless as well. What is there for them, in terms of a proper housing and shelter and whatnot? And even as we speak, I must hail out the fishermen. Kudos to them because last week a meeting was held with the minister, Mr. Alfred Prosper, and moving forward, their concerns were met and with our member of parliament as well. So good things are happening. Let me ask you in terms of exporting of fish and better branding and packaging. I think maybe that was also looked at. I do not know if you have anything to add on to when it comes to the fisher folks and so forth as well.
Well, I really have to smile here because I did ask for an opportunity to be at that meeting, and unfortunately, or I really don't know why I was, denied that opportunity. But what I really want for the fishers, like I said, I just mentioned, is an opportunity for them to get a sheltered place for them to sell their produce, their catch, sorry, and also an opportunity for the fisheries department or the fishermen's cooperative to maybe establish a processing plant where a processing and packaging plant where the fishers can bring their catch in if they're not able to sell all of it, so that it can be processed, cleaned, packaged, stored, and ready for sale.
Just before we leave, reference the garbage disposal, someone asked, what about a recycling program?
Well, yes, we can have that as well because the garbage in Soufriere is just totally got rid of in bulk. There's no real effort to recycle and to separate garbage like it's being done in some areas and in some other parts of the world. So this is a possibility as well, and it will give persons an opportunity to, earn a little income, as little as it is for plastics, for bottles and stuff like that, when it is separated from the garbage. But I think it is an opportunity.
Unfortunately, Sophia, I will bring the mayor back. I know we have so many burning questions that we would love to be addressed. So, Mrs. Hippolyte, again, this is why I extend a heartfelt thank you to you. Keep up the good work that you're doing as much. We need to come together. You need to, enforce that we need to come together to work for the good of the country. For sure.
Definitely, definitely.
Anything else just before we end?
Well, I know that with the last activity we had this past weekend, many persons had different views in terms of, the amount that was spent and what we tried to do. But one of the things I just want to mention is you must break eggs to make an omelette. The What was done last weekend was not just for last weekend, when persons criticized and said, oh, it was just a small yacht, it wasn't a big ship. This is just the tip of the iceberg, the beginning, and we're hoping that we will encourage more cruise ships to come, bigger cruise ships, because when I was a child, some 50 years ago, I remember cruise ships used to come in the Soufriere harbor, and this is where it started. Also, persons were complaining about the blocking off of some of the um, shabby huts we have along the waterfront. Yes, it's true that in all countries there are ghettos and there are shabby huts, but at the time we were having difficulty with the persons there in terms of the amount of garbage that they had, and they were refusing to move bulky things like old stoves and stuff like that right in front of the boardwalk. So I remember again in 1966 when the Queen came again, there were coconut palms set up for the Bouleyard, which was on the other side where the fisheries complex is. So it's not that we don't want the tourists to see, because they have the whole of Barons right to see and everywhere else that they can go. So it's not about portraying Soufriere as a beautiful place. It is a beautiful place. So when they walk around, they will see all that they need to see. I just want to let the public know that, whatever you do, whether it's good or bad, there will always be criticism, but you just have to work as long as for the betterment of the people of Soufriere.
Thank you. This has been the Mayoress of Soufriere, Mrs. Joan Hippolyte. Thank you so much to all those of you who actually sent in your responses online and who took the time out to listen. Thank you, thank you, thank you. This is Miss Epihane alongside Mrs. Joan Hippolyte, House Guest Edition for today, Wednesday, the 10th of November 2021. Please feel free to tune in next week, Wednesday, for another broadcast. To have a productive day, we're out.
You asked for more live and relevant talk shows, and we heard you. 88.5 Soufriere FM presents House Guest, a brand new, fresh fortnightly feature airing on Wednesdays at 10 a.m. House Guest will showcase a cadre of professionals, from doctors and entrepreneurs to the next door friendly neighbor. So tune in as we network the community with a platform for open, frank, and informative discussion. Only on Soufriere FM, your community radio station.
My mommy protected me and my little nephew when she got vaccinated.
My doctor is protecting me. She's vaccinated.
My aunt protected me when she got vaccinated.
COVID-19 vaccines are available for people from the age of 12 years and older. Being vaccinated against the virus does not only protect you, it also makes our country safer for those who cannot